Hey everybody, this video is going to show you how to open up your hips, get a good stretch in your hips, your piriformis, to loosen up any problems you may have in your hips, your glutes, and you may have some shooting pain down your legs. Oftentimes we hold a lot of tension in our glutes. This goes for men and women alike. And oftentimes you're not even going to know that you're tense or tight there until you start stretching or doing some myofascial release. Once you start doing this, if you feel a lot of pain, that means that you just really need to stretch and release those muscles so you have better mobility and you reduce the risk of injury. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of our bands. Actually, I'll take this medium band, and we're going to lie down on our backs. And typically what I do is I bend my knee, because if your leg is straight, sometimes you feel a little pain in your back there. So I always start with my knee bent on these things, and I straighten my leg up, just checking in with my body. And then I bend my knee slightly and bring it over and cross it over. Like I'm crossing my legs, but there's obviously space here. And you'll feel the stretch starting to go into the outside part of your thigh. So I'm at about a 45-degree angle here. And I'm just kind of waking up this whole area, this whole side of my thigh and my glute. And you can make this a more dynamic movement if you want to pull up, maybe go out to the side, come back in here, bend your leg, and stretch. And you want your knee going down toward the floor. Okay? Breathing into that hip. And then once that's kind of warmed up and you know that you can stretch safely, you can release your band. And then grab your ankle right here and put it right on top of your knee here. And then put your hand underneath this knee. The other hand is going to go through that triangle. Relax your leg. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking my elbow. My elbow is on my thigh here. This hand is interlaced with my other one. And this way I can push my knee that way on this side and pull my thigh slightly toward me on this side. So it's a push and pull maneuver. I'm pulling with the side that's toward you, and I'm pushing away the side that is toward the door. And this will create a really deep stretch in your glute, in that piriformis, on the side, on the right side. For me, it's the right side. It's the side that is facing the door. Okay? So you would just continue easily pulling this side, this left side, toward your body, toward your face, and pushing the other knee away, working in opposition. That's pretty good. If that's too complicated or difficult for you, what you can do is take your band and wrap it around your foot like this, and just do this like this without lifting the other leg up. It's just not as intense. Okay? So moving to the other side. Kind of always start checking in with yourself first. You don't want to just jam yourself into a piriformis stretch because you could get injured. check in a little bit, bend my leg, kind of at a 45-degree angle here. My knee is bent, and I feel this right in the side of my leg and into my glute. Bringing my knee down toward the floor. And I never yank or push or, contort myself in any of these positions. These positions are, you go to the point where your body stops, and then you just breathe in that space. And if you move a little bit more and you stretch a little bit farther, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Okay? So a little organic movement here. Stretch. Checking in with my hips and my back, making sure everything is okay before I go into that deeper piriformis stretch. So, okay, we crossed our one leg over. Now my knee is toward you. I'm taking my right hand. It's going under my right knee. I'm taking my left hand. I'm putting it through the triangle, interlacing my fingers. And now I can set my elbow right here on my thigh. Relax my foot over here on the right side. And just slowly, tiny little movements, working in opposition, pushing with my elbow on this side slightly, and pulling with my right arm the other leg toward me. Okay? And your body's going to move however much it's going to move. Don't fight with it. Okay? I'll release that. I'm going to come up to sitting. Now, whenever I go to sit with my legs crossed, crisscross applesauce, if you look like this, sitting this way, and you have all that tightness in your hips, you need to stretch your hips. If you can't get your knees to go down toward the floor, you want to lift your booty up on something. And then you'll find your knees come down to the floor a lot easier and you don't have that tension in your back. Okay? So you can start here or you can start with your tush down here on the mat. Okay? So what we're going to start doing is put your hands out here in front of you. And we're going to slowly just walk our hands forward. And what this does is you'll feel it starts to open up your hips here and your glutes on both sides. I'm going to kick away this towel because I don't feel too much unless I'm sitting totally flat. There we go. Ironically for me, I'm pretty loose in my hips if I continuously stretch. But I always have issues with my lower back because I have disc herniation, spinal stenosis, scoliosis, a bunch of things. So we don't want to round our backs here, okay? You want to aim to have your forehead coming out down to the mat in front of you. So we want to keep the chest open here. We don't want to be curving down, right? And you just, again, you'd slowly walk your little hands forward and then let your elbows drop down toward the mat as well as your chest toward your feet and your forehead toward the floor. And if you feel any pain in your knees, you have to stop this and just stick with the other stretches that I showed you and stop there and don't move on to this one. You can reverse your feet. So, like this, do the same thing. Hands come down. I'm a lot tighter with my feet in this position than in the one before it. So, probably won't get down nearly as far as I did before. And look, we always just work with our bodies. We never want to fight with it. Fighting with your body is a losing battle, especially as you get older. Okay? So then we come on up. And another thing that you can do is kind of go to the side here, and you take your right hand on your right leg and bring your chest down and your nose towards your knee. And then you'll feel a stretch in the top of your hip on the right side. That's a good one. And then the other side, take your left hand on your left leg. This hand I'm putting on the floor. And my nose to my knee on the other side. And I feel it right here, right in the top of my glute on the side there. Of course the phone's going to ring while I'm doing this. All right, so that's really it for the hips and piriformis stretch. I'm going to do other videos on using a foam roller and using a lacrosse ball so that you can see how to do that for myofascial release of this same area. And that's all I have. So have a great day. I'll see you soon.